Jamie Gittens.
In this game, here's Gittens. Gittens!
Joao Pedro.
He digs it across, should be the match-winning moment. Pedro!
Estevao. Chelsea's new team is looking scary after a season in which the Young Blues got Champions League football.
Nobody wants to play Chelsea.
And even found themselves in the title race for a bit.
When you're sitting second in the Premier League in December, you are definitely in the title race.
It was time to improve the team even more. So can these new signings take Chelsea to the next level? Let's find out. Jamie Gittens was a signing that was needed, not just because Jadon Sancho left, but because in general, Chelsea needed more left wingers. The right wing is filled with talent. The left side, it's a bit deserted. Mudryk was supposed to be the next guy up, but we all know what happened to that poor guy. I feel bad for him because firstly, he probably didn't know what he was taking. But then secondly, he took performance enhancing drugs, but didn't see his performances enhanced. Brother got banned for no reason. Please, just free Mudryk. Well, Chelsea have now moved on and signed a player who's one of the best talents on the left side of the pitch. Gittens is a right-footed left winger, and with the lack of competition at Chelsea, he can easily become a nailed-on starter. Here is how he statistically compares to the other wingers that Chelsea have had on both sides. He got 0.4 goals per 90, which is higher than Pedro Neto, Madueke, and Sancho. His assist numbers were around the same, but his dribble attempts are way higher than everyone on this list. Of course, take this data with a grain of salt. Gittens played in a different country and league under a different manager and different system. But the data gives us a great insight into what makes Gittens so special. At Dortmund, he dominated the left side, as you can see from this graphic. He got 12 goals and 5 assists in the 2025 season, which isn't a ton, but keep in mind, Dortmund have not been that good. Like, he wasn't playing for Jurgen Klopp's Dortmund. He was playing for a Dortmund side that finished 5th. In fact, he was pretty much the most important player for Dortmund in terms of chance creation and actually making things happen in the attacking third. In Germany, they call them Unterschiedsspieler, which is literally German for difference maker. So putting this guy around better players at Chelsea will certainly help his output. But what makes Gittens so good is his dribbling and speed. He is incredibly dangerous in 1v1 situations because not only is he fast, but his feet are super quick too, making him a nightmare to play against. No player attempted more take-ons than him in the Bundesliga. Then what makes him even deadlier is that when he gets a bit of space, he can rocket a shot in. Let me show you guys some clips of what Gittens can do. Okay, so here's his goal against Bayern. He receives the ball in a very tight angle here, Lamer right on his back. Now, if you guys look at this, a lot of wingers here would either shield the ball and try and keep possession and minimize risk, or they'd shield the ball and try and draw a foul. But Gittens, as you can see here, knowing that he's way faster than Lamer, uses the momentum of the pass to start his own run. He dummies it, explodes down the left flank, then rockets the ball into the net. Keep in mind, this is a great finish. This is near post finish with his weaker foot against Neuer. Yes, it's not Neuer in his prime, but he's still a good goalie. The second clip here, we have Gittens versus Eintracht Frankfurt. So he gets the ball out wide, he attacks his defender with speed, and then boom. Because he's so quick, he can basically get this bit of space off every single time. So all he has to do is just develop his shooting like this, and just be more consistent. Because he's so quick both in terms of his speed and how quick his feet are, that he's always going to be able to create this little bit of separation, and then he just has to curl one in. Here's another clip from the same match where Gittens shows how lethal he can be on the counter. So Dortmund win the ball back, Gittens easily turns his defender. I mean, what is this defense? Then he just sprints past everyone and then calmly slots it in. Now I know what you're thinking. Ped, look at all the space he has. This is a farmer's league. Nobody wants to defend in the Bundesliga. He won't get this level of space and time in the Premier League. But guys, trust me, with the speed of the Premier League, there are going to be a lot of transition opportunities. And even if there isn't, as I showed you guys in that first clip, and I'm going to show you another clip right now, Gittens is fine against a low to mid block. Here's another similar goal he scored against Freiburg. Whole team behind the ball, not a lot of space, and yet Gittens still finds a way. Now I understand that you Chelsea fans might still be haunted by Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, But Gittens is a very different kind of player. He's a skillful winger. Werner, despite his goals, was already a pretty wasteful player in the Bundesliga. But Gittens, in terms of finishing, is actually quite ruthless in front of goal. Let's look at a shot map from the 2025 Bundesliga season. He outperformed his expected goals by a lot. Based on where he shot from and the quality of the chances he had, he should have only gotten 3.6 goals. Let's just round it up and say 4. Instead, this man got 8. Then on top of his great finishing, he has all the qualities that every manager is looking for in a winger. You cannot coach speed or quick feet or this natural dribbling ability. These are qualities you either have or you don't. I mean, if we look at this screenshot right here, his job in Maresca's system is just going to be to create chances and give the team more width and to create opportunities for the guy in the middle. And I truly believe that Gittens will do this role even better than Sancho, because although Sancho did look good in certain moments, he didn't have the speed and explosiveness that Gittens has. At times, Sancho was just doing tap dances in front of the defense with nothing happening. That never happens with Gittens because he actually runs at his defender. Let's look at this graphic from The Athletic. Only Doku and Yamal attempted more take-ons per 90 minutes than Gittens. This is pretty good company to be a part of. I mean, those two are the best 1v1 players in the world. So what Chelsea are getting is a winger that actually runs at his man rather than somebody that just does a couple of body feints and then recycles possession. And peep his take-on success rate. It's 45%. So if he runs twice at a defender, he's gonna get by at least once. Or close to it. I know it's not 50%, but it's pretty close. That tells you that not only is he a great dribbler, but he's an efficient one. Because it's easy to keep running at defenders, but you lose the ball and your team gets countered all the time. That's not the case with Gittens. Now what's great about Gittens is that he's not only good on the ball, he's also a huge asset without the ball. Look at this data wheel from The Athletic. Gittens was rated 70 out of 99 against others in his position for progressive receptions. So Skill Corner defines progressive receptions as the amount of times a player receives a progressive pass. And then they define progressive pass as a completed pass that actually moves the team forward at least 10 meters. So for Gittens to be rated this high means that he was constantly helping Dortmund progress by being in good positions, by being in the right areas where a pass to him pushed the entire team forward. Then defensively, he's still a bit raw. As you can imagine, skillful wingers are not shaking their boots to track back defensively and put in tackles. But I'm going to show you guys this clip right here to show that he does have an ability, or at least a desire, to defend when he has to. So initially, as you can see, he was very slow to spot Olmo making an overlap run. So the Spaniard basically gets a free pass into the penalty area. But Gittens was able to identify the situation, look at him racing back, and then he closes down Olmo, or at least makes it more difficult for him to get a shot off than before where he was just stranded in no man's land. But obviously what will get Chelsea fans excited is his attacking potential. He is one of those wingers that can create something out of nothing. He is also so young that theoretically he should only get better. Once he adds more goals and assists to his game consistently, he can easily establish himself as the best left-sided player, not just in the Premier League, but all of Europe. Also, one last thing I gotta point out is how funny it is that Chelsea continue just signing City Academy players. From Maresca, to Lavia, to Palmer, to Delap, and now Gittens. These guys are for real taking all of City's talents, while those guys continue employing Unk versions of Gundogan and Bernardo Silva. Then we have the signing of Joao Pedro. Yes, another signing from Brighton. At this point, Chelsea might as well just hire Tony Bloom. Now, I know what some of you are wondering. Why did Chelsea sign another striker? Didn't they just sign Delap? Well, I think they signed him for a couple of reasons. Number one is because they wanted a different profile of player up top, which I will cover in detail right now. The other reason is simply that we live in a time in football where depth is no longer a luxury but a necessity. It's something that my opinion has changed on over the years. In the past, I was thinking, why would you have multiple players, good players for the same position? But I realized with how many competitions there are, with the fact that there are now 5 substitutions, with how many injuries happen, you need quality everywhere. You have to be able to rotate without seeing a drop-off in your starting 11. And Joao Pedro works because he's a completely different profile than Delap and Jackson. He can play with either of them in a 2-man striker setup, but he can also play up top by himself. Now, he's probably at his best as a second striker, but being isolated up front, he can do that too. Naturally, though, you want Joao Pedro in positions where he's acting as a linking piece between the midfield and the attack. What he did for Brighton was he would drop in to help progress the ball up the pitch. He especially drifted a lot to the left side, so expect him and Gittens to link up a lot. Okay, so let me break down what he does in this clip from Brighton versus Leicester. So Baliba's carrying the ball, Joao Pedro drops off the last line to receive the ball, he checks his shoulder and sees there's a big gap, so when he does get the ball he turns, he drives forward and then slips a ball to Adingra. This passage of play is exactly what Maresca wants to see. It's exactly why he brought in the Brazilian. Just replace Belliba with Caicedo, Edingra with Gittens, and boom. They can do this exact same movement at Chelsea now. Unlike Delap and Jackson, who really stretch the opposition with their runs in behind, Joao Pedro is way more comfortable with the ball at his feet and looking for runners. Hence why I said that he can play up front with Delap or Jackson in a two-man striker partnership. Look at this graphic. My guy makes no runs in behind and barely attacks the box for crosses. But look at his stats for coming short, overlapping runs, and support runs. So it's not like this guy doesn't run without the ball. He just impacts the game differently. Now the great thing about Joao Pedro is he can provide you with goals. He finished as the joint top scorer for the Seagulls with 10 goals. Yes, 5 of them were pens, but he only started 23 games and only completed the full 90 12 times. Not to mention a bunch of the pens he won himself. Joao Pedro was fouled 56 times in the league, which is further proof of how good of a dribbler he is. Since he carries the ball so well and is great in tight spaces, it forces the defense to collapse, which naturally results in more fouls given away. Now, not only was Joao Pedro at the top for goals at Brighton, but he also had the most assists for them. And again, that's his best attribute, as you can see from this chart from The Athletic. His ability to set up others and progress the ball with passes and carries is where he shines. Now I want to show you guys this assist he got against Manchester City. As we discussed before, he loves to drop deep to collect the ball. Now City actually do a great job of covering the initial pass to him. So instead, Belliba goes to Welbeck, who passes it back to Joao Pedro, who is now in the pocket of space. And this right here is where he shines. He carries the ball with him in the space. City's defense tightens up, but then Joao Pedro finds this little opening to O'Reilly, which leads to a goal. In the 2025 season, Chelsea looked great when they were playing direct transitional football, but Maresca didn't like it and said it was too chaotic, like a basketball game. But it looks to me that he wants to return to that style of play, just now with more technical players. Joao Pedro can help tremendously. His profile allows Chelsea to still progress the ball through the different phases while having a number 9 who can actually retain the possession and find the killer pass in key areas. Now Jackson is able to do this task as well, but as we saw in the 2025 season, the drop-off was too big when he got injured, so he can't be the only guy up front that can create. Add in the fact that he sometimes just loses his head, and this signing makes sense, because Joao Pedro is adding another dimension in the attack. He can even play in the attacking midfield role if you want to rotate Palmer. This will take the creative burden off the Englishman, and Joao Pedro's style will allow the Chelsea wingers like Neto and Gittens to get even better, because when these guys get in behind, Joao Pedro will be able to find them. Chelsea of course also signed Delap, who is a striker profile they didn't have before. He is fast, powerful, and hungry to score. While a player like Joao Pedro offers creativity, Delap offers direct pace in behind. Now he can carry the ball too. In fact, he was at the top of the charts in the Premier League when it came to forward carries. But his best quality is stretching the opposition wider than Lily Phillips. As you can see from this data from The Athletic, most of his runs are ahead of the ball and in behind. He provides a direct outlet for passes, and given his speed and strength, he's almost unstoppable when he gets going. I mean, the Chelsea guys already know this. Take a look at how none of them slap him when he's going through the line. Tank. Now these are the new signings, but there's a lot of previous signings who will now officially join the squad. Sarr, Pays, and Estevao. Sarr is a young French center back from Strasbourg who was signed back in January of 2025. Chelsea got him for 14 million euros, and he was coming off the back of a season where he made 28 appearances for Strasbourg, helping them finish 7th in Liga and qualify for the Conference League. Now despite being very young, he's already had a pretty crazy journey, starting in the Lens Academy, spending 6 years at Lyon, and then going on loan to Belgian side Daring Brussels before making his mark at Strasbourg. Chelsea see a lot of potential in Sarr. I could see this guy being loaned out, but for now, he went straight into the senior squad. I guess the idea is for him to get more familiar with Maresca's tactics, build chemistry with the team, and grow within the Chelsea environment. Now, he's not expected to be a regular starter yet. There are several center backs ahead of him, but his potential is sky high. And given how good he looked in Liga, he could play a role sooner than many expect. Then Paez and Estevao are two of the most talented players from South America, and they're coming to elevate Chelsea to another level. I'm curious to see where they will both play, as they're both very similar profiles, both very good on the ball, silky dribblers. Whether it's a slick dribble or a pass that splits the defense open like Bonnie Blue, these two guys are about as gifted as they come. Paez can play on the wing and also in the number 10 role. The kid is sensational. In 1 year, he went from playing youth tournaments to starting in Ecuador's top league, becoming a national team regular, and scoring in a World Cup qualifier. It'll be nice to see another player other than Palmer and Gittens that can open the game up. Estevao is an equally talented beast. Yes, Chelsea have a lot of right wingers, but Estevao's potential and his ceiling is significantly higher than the likes of Noni Madueke and Pedro Neto. There hasn't been a guy this hyped coming out of the Liga do Brasil since Neymar. Not even Vini and Rodrigo were as hyped as this guy when they first went abroad. Of course, he's young and raw, pause, so he's gonna need some time to adapt and adjust to a new country and league, but look at what he does to teams. Now you might be saying, well, it's the Brazilian league. Guys, we've seen what Brazilian clubs are capable of at the Club World Cup. Their quality and intensity is high. Yes, of course, the level in Europe is significantly higher, but the fact that Esteval looks so good against Brazilian competition means he has all the tools necessary to succeed at the highest level. He can wiggle out of tight areas, he beats players with ease, and just like Paez, Esteval can also easily play inside as a number 10. It will be Maresca's job to figure out where each of these talented players go, because at one point there might be too many chefs in the kitchen. You guys should definitely get their jersey from buygamejerseys.com with code PETTALKS before one of them gets sold. Now on top of these guys, there are also the established stars. Moises Caicedo is showing game after game that he's worth every penny of that 100 mil transfer. Reece James continues to remind us that when he's healthy, he's the best right back in the world. Cole Palmer continues to wow us with his magical left foot. The reason I didn't talk about them too in depth is because I have a whole separate video on how good the Chelsea team is. You have to check out this video right here.